back with another video, and I'm doing another video in my first time home buyers series. So if you're interested in those kind of videos, please hit the subscribe button, because I'm doing a whole series on them, walking you through the process of our experience buying our first home as a family of 4 at the time. Now we are a family of 5. And yeah, please hit the subscribe if you'd like to see more of them. So in my last video I explained exactly how we were able to save for our deposit and how we saved over 15,000 in the year. So if you'd like to know more about that, please click on that video first, because that just explained exactly where this money is coming from that I'll be talking about in this timeline. So yeah, please click on that first if you haven't already watched it. So basically this all happened in 2019, so before any global craziness went on. We had no idea obviously what was coming, but we sat down in January and decided we were going to be saving the deposit for our first home. And in January we actually thought that it would take over a year. So we were saving, at the time we were saving with the thought process that it would be over a year before we would be buying a home. Now, as you'll see as the video goes on, things changed a little bit as the year went on and some expected news came our way, but at the time that was our goal. And also we thought we would be able to buy a cheaper house. We didn't really anticipate the true house prices, and to be honest, we thought we were about a year, maybe even 18 months away from buying our first home. So just bear that in mind as we start off the saving. So basically, as this video goes on, I'm going to have a little box down here explaining exactly what we saved. Just have the figures there. It'll just be easier for you to see what's going on, and if you want to fast forward the video, it'll be easier to see what month things are going on. If you want to speed it up and get to just the actual buying a house, that all really kicks off May, June onwards. So if you want to skip forward to that bit, I don't mind. So in January we decided to start our year of saving, and we decided to start that off by paying off our credit card. We had quite a balance on our credit card just because we had just come back from a holiday in America, and we really needed to cop ourselves on. So we decided to clear that as quick as we could, and we paid the majority of the balance of it in January, which was €1,415. So we paid that off in January, and we also put €550 into savings just to start off our savings. Then in February we cleared our credit card, so we paid €300 off our credit card, which included the remaining interest, and then we also put in €1,150 into savings. So we had really started to build up the savings now. Then in March we put in €1,650 into savings, and in April we put a further €1,000 into savings. At this time our goal was to get 1,000 minimum into savings each month, and anything extra we could get in was a bonus. Then in May was a big month. In May we got some absolutely shocking news. We had been renting our house for 7 years at this stage. My daughter in particular had basically grown up just in this house, and basically we got told, we got a text, we were sat on the couch watching Netflix, got a text from the agent that we rent off to say the landlord was thinking of selling, just to let us know we would be getting an official letter in a few days, but they were thinking of selling, and the house would be going on the market in September, and we had until September to leave. So, as I'm sure you can imagine, it was absolutely shocking news to us. And we just took about a week to really take in that news. Not gonna lie, completely freaked out, but we didn't really do anything. We just froze and talked a lot about it, and talked to family and friends, and a lot of people said it was probably good news coming for us, and maybe we didn't see it now but in the future, but it's very hard to see that at that time. So we basically felt like the rug was being pulled out from under us. We thought we had a certain amount of time to save our deposit, and it felt so unfair when we were finally saving that this was happening. And also, to put into context, at the time and still currently, there was very few houses available to rent. We had animals, so we couldn't rent an apartment. We also had 2 kids, so we needed to make sure we had at least a 3-bed house, and we didn't know if we could afford a deposit. We didn't know if we could afford, it would just take a massive chunk of that mortgage deposit that we had been saving out away, and it just felt like everything was going against us at the time. So after thinking about it and talking to a few people, we decided the best thing to do would be to go and see a mortgage advisor. Before we started looking at houses to rent, we wanted to make sure that we were eligible in any time soon to buy a house. So we said we'd go down that route first, and then if that didn't go well, at least we'd understand exactly how long we had to save for and things like that. So in May, we went to visit a mortgage advisor. We booked an appointment and we went and met the mortgage advisor. He didn't charge anything for the appointment. The way he worked is, if he decided to take you on, he would then charge you on the drawdown of your mortgage. So until that happened, you wouldn't be paying him. So he basically interviewed us to see if we would be eligible. He looked at all of our finances, he looked at our wages, our costs, and what we were able to save each month, and what we were also paying in rent. And from that, he decided that we met his qualification for a mortgage. So basically, we didn't get mortgage approval at that time, but he basically said we qualified for a mortgage in his eyes, and he'd be taking us on as a client. So that was exciting. We basically knew then that we wouldn't be trying to rent another house, we would be instead trying to go and buy a house, which was very exciting and nerve-wracking, and it felt like a lot of pressure, because we needed to now up the amount we were saving, and we couldn't slow down at any point, and we had to hope nothing knocked us back. He also said to us that we would have to start looking at houses and viewing them, because he said it was easier for us to apply for a mortgage if we had a specific house on the mortgage application. It would just help the process on a bit quicker, and it would also help us get accepted. He gave us a rough idea of what house price we would be looking at, and he explained to us that we would be looking for a bit more than we thought we would be. So we decided after that meeting that we would start looking at houses. He also told us we would have to arrange a meeting with a solicitor, so we booked one in for the following month. And so we basically realised after that meeting what kind of house we'd be looking for. We weren't going to be looking for a brand new ready to move in house. We would have to look for a house that needed a bit of work. But we also decided we weren't going to get a mortgage that included any cost of repairs. And then the total we saved in May was €1,586. So then in June we kicked off the month by going to visit the solicitor, and he told us we needed to start drawing together an idea of what we wanted in our wills, and he also explained to us the process that would be going on from a legal point of view, and explained to us that we had to tell him when we had put an offer in on a house so that he would be able to start helping us along with that process. He also explained all the legal costs with us as well for getting that solicitor. Then we started viewing houses. We went to a lot of houses in June. Basically, I think we went to a couple of houses every weekend, and some of the houses I went to just on myself, on my own, and some of them I went with family. We originally found a house we liked in a small heritage village, and we actually arranged a second viewing of that house with family, and we ultimately decided that house was going to cost too much to renovate, and also it had a few legal issues. There was actually a bed sit in a garage, and we weren't sure if we would be interested in pursuing that legally. So we decided to leave that property, and we went and looked at a few more houses, and then I came across this house, and it needed a good bit of work, but we decided it was the house for us. And so then we put in an offer on this house, and it was a bit of a cheeky offer. It was a little bit lower than they wanted, but it was rejected. Then I put in a second offer, and that offer was also rejected. They told us roughly what they were looking for, and I put in a third offer that was slightly lower than they were looking for, and it was accepted. So that was very exciting in June. It honestly felt like a whirlwind at this stage. This offer was accepted at the end of June. Then in June we also sent in our mortgage application with our house on. We actually sent it before our final offer was accepted, just to get the process started a little quicker. And then in June we also saved €1,200. Then in July we got a builder to go and view the house, and we also did a second viewing at the same time. My husband went around with the builder and viewed the house. We're lucky enough to have somebody in the family who's a builder, so they went around with my husband and just explained what different renovations on the house would cost, and just checked the house out just to see if it was okay. Then also in July we arranged for a surveyor to come round and view the house and make sure it was structurally sound, and point out anything that maybe needed to be done in the next few years, so we wouldn't get any nasty surprises. Then we also saved €2,350 in July, so it was actually our largest amount we saved in a single month. We just had a lot of side hustles come our way, and we sold a lot of things. Then in August we got mortgage approval right at the start of August, so that was really exciting, and our mortgage broker gave us a rough estimate of 6 to 8 weeks from this mortgage approval. So we were expecting to be in our house for September, which is perfect because that's when our agents and our landlord wanted to put that house on the market. so our rentals. So we were hoping that we would be out in time, and that we were really excited, and we started packing. We also signed contracts in August, so we went to the solicitors and signed contracts, and the sellers signed contracts. So originally, when we put the offer in on the house in June, we had paid a holding deposit of €5,000 to the estate agents that had the house, and so then in August we had to pay the remainder of the deposit, so the 10% of the total cost of the house. We had to pay that to the estate agents, and then we also saved $1,450 in August. So then it was September. We were really excited. We hadn't heard anything about an exact date, but we were hoping we would be moving in September. We decided to pack as much as we could so that we would be ready to move as quick as possible. We sold off anything we didn't need, and we just generally made sure we were getting ready to go. And then we were told in September that actually this was a divorce sale, which we weren't told until this point, and the move-in date would be delayed as they were basically not ready to move. So it was at this point we were told that actually there was normally there is your solicitor and there is the seller's solicitor, and in September we found out it was our solicitor and two sellers' solicitors because it was a divorce sale. So if you are buying a house, a little piece of advice I would give you is to also ask how many solicitors are involved, because it made everything much more complicated. My solicitor couldn't just ask another solicitor why things were being held up. The other solicitor had to ask another solicitor why things were being held up. So when I would ring my solicitor to find out what was going on and when was the move-in date, which I did weekly, I was told they didn't know and they would find out, and it was taking weeks to find out. Bearing in mind, all three solicitors, very irritatingly, could see each other's offices from their windows. So yeah, but apparently that's not the way it works. They have to do it all in text because they're solicitors. So yeah, it was delayed, which was very irritating, and we saved a further €1,000 in September. Then in October we were getting very agitated, but we finally were given a closing date. We were told we would be moving in the 15th of October, which was very exciting to us because it was my son's birthday and we would be getting the keys that day. And then the day before we were told it was delayed. So it was actually delayed another 2 weeks. We were given another date. We had taken off the 15th. We had to it was my son's birthday, so we spent the day together anyway, which was nice, but it was very upsetting. We were given another closing date, and we were given the 30th of October, which we took off as well, and we were so delighted to find out it actually happened. So on the 30th of October we were told we would be rang when they were ready. They would be waiting for the keys to be dropped off to our solicitors, and they would ring us as soon as the keys came in. And on the 30th of October we were queuing for food in a restaurant just outside the solicitor's office when they rang, and we dropped our trays down. We ran into the solicitor's office and they gave us the keys, and actually they were so happy for us. They knew I had been ringing them so much. I knew the solicitor's secretary on a first name basis, and they were delighted for us, and they gave us the keys, and we made sure to get all the paperwork, and yeah, we finally were able to go to the house. So we got a quick bite to eat and ran and got into our house. And in October we saved €1,350. Then in November we actually moved in. So in November we finally got into our house, and we moved out of the rental. We lost some of our deposit from the rental because basically she took the last bit of rent from the deposit, which wasn't how I was going to do it, but anyway, that's what happened. Anyone who's rented in Ireland knows that it can be quite difficult sometimes to get the deposit back. But yeah, we moved out of there, and we were just glad to be out of renting after all of that. And we moved everything over. We had some help from friends and family, and we started also at the same time as moving in, we started to renovate the house a little bit. Basically the kitchen had this big stove in it. I'll put some pictures here just to show you. It had a big stove that took up half the kitchen, and there wasn't any space for white goods, so we took that out. Also the counters had tiles on the top that were cracked and dirty. We just took them out, and we realised when we were taking them out that under the sink was all rotten and had black mould. So we took all of that out, and we put in a new countertop, and we put in a sink. And yeah, we had lots of help from friends and family, which were brilliant. It meant that we saved quite a bit in labour costs, and it also meant that it got done a lot quicker. And also in November we paid off our mortgage payment, so that was exciting, and it was actually a bit less than our rent, which was brilliant. And then we saved a total of €1,475 in November. Then in December we continued with our renovations. We painted the sitting room. It had like this maroon colour on the walls, and we painted it blue and made it our own. We further renovated it later. I will show you in another video, but this is what we did just to quickly make it a bit nicer for now. And we also painted the kitchen cabinets and made them all white because it was very dark in that room. And we prepared for Christmas, and we also saved a total of €1,000. So we saved just over 15,000 in the year, and we got the keys for our first home. So it was a crazy year, a year I will never forget, and we just felt incredibly lucky. That Christmas in particular, we just couldn't believe it. We never anticipated, when we were talking about what we would be doing in the following year, we had no idea that we would actually be in our own home in that year. So if you yourself are thinking about getting a mortgage, or have started the process of getting a mortgage, I hope this kind of will help you to understand the way our journey went. From what I've gathered, our journey maybe was delayed quite a bit more than some people's, but then I've heard much longer stories as well. Basically, there's a lot of things that can delay a mortgage, and especially it seems to be if there's anything from a legal point of view. So obviously we had a divorce sale, so there was things that had to be looked at, like from their point of view, so making sure they were getting what they needed to get out of the sale, and that just slowed down our buying process. From the house's point of view, there wasn't anything crazy in our house, but some houses obviously would have delays. So I mentioned before, we looked at another house, and it had they had put in a whole other house in their garage in the garden, and that would have been we would have probably had to try and get retention, and that would have delayed things a lot as well. So yeah, basically, like, it's another thing to think about, because obviously as it drags on, you're paying more in rent, and and it's just very frustrating. But yeah, that's the timeline of our buying our first home. I hope it helps. Please drop me a comment if you've any questions and I can help you in any way, please do. But yeah, I hope this helps, and I'm going to do another video of all the cost breakdown in a separate video of all the different costs that we had buying our first home. So I hope this video helped you in some way, and I will chat to you all later. Bye!